Good morning, Washington. How you doing, everybody? Baltimore, Fredericksburg, Annapolis, Leesburg, everywhere. We're there. DCRTV.com. Okay, today is Saturday, the 1st of October. October is my favorite month of the year. It's Rocktober! And I'm going to be glued to 105.9 to listen to all that cool classic rock for Rock to... Oh, wait, forget it. Oh, well. You know, you can listen to 98 Rock would be a good Rocktober month station, right? They're kind of active rock, Anyhow, how you doing, everybody? Today we're going to do a flashback. It's like you're in broadcast history, Washington Broadcast History 101. Today, and I'm Professor Dave. And we're going to go and view a 1997 special that Channel 4 Channel 4 WRC aired on its 50th anniversary, and I'm got it all queued up here. If I can get the wires. Oh, look at this. The wires. There we are. So let's take a listen and a look at this special here. This is the early days of Channel 4 from a special hosted by Jim Vance in 1997.
Tonight, we want to share some memories with you. 1947. Harry Truman's in the White House. The average worker earns $2,500 a year, about the cost of a new Cadillac. It's the second year of the baby boom, and there are now 1.2 million of us in the D.C. area. Radio is king and about to be dethroned. Television made its debut at the 1939 World's Fair, but its development was frozen during the war. There are only 700 TV sets in the entire Washington area on June 27th when Channel 4 hit the air for the first time. We were on the air for only 3.5 hours that first night. Along with Toscanini, we brought you newsreels, a boxing match, and a variety show.
It was like a new world opening, but none of us realized it. We had not the faintest idea what television was or what it would become.
Our first home was a makeshift studio in the Wardman Park Hotel. Many of the staff who settled in there came from WRC Radio. Those radio pioneers were now blazing a trail in television.
The first television shows were newsreels. Fashion models and battleships and parades and that sort of thing.
One experiment followed another. By converting moving vans and buses into makeshift mobile units, within a few weeks we were airing local theater. These early images were primitive, but that didn't lessen the impact of having Shakespeare beamed into your living room.
This afternoon, for the first time in the history of the Folger Library, this stage actually will be used for the enactment of a Shakespearean play.
Great Caesar! Not food meal, be cats for me. Two protein.
But Washington was always more about political theater than the other kind. Channel 4 carried the first live coverage from Capitol Hill, hearings on the Marshall Plan.
We can act for our own good by acting for the world's good.
Tonight, the makers of Maxwell House Coffee bring you America's Press Conference of the Air.
Then there was the debut of Meet the Press, the first and longest running of the great public affairs shows.
It's the roar of the presses. Working day and night in the north, south, east, and west of our nation, these daily presses pour out over 48 million newspapers. And behind these millions of headlines are the country's ace reporters.
In the tradition of Meet the Press, we then brought you American Forum of the Air and
Youth Wants to Know, a program dedicated to the principle that the future of America rests with the young people of our nation.
All right, what is your question, young man?
When the Korean War ends, how long will it take the Republic of Korea to reestablish its economy?
in 1949, we joined 3 other stations to broadcast the presidential inauguration for the first time. An unprecedented 5 hours of live coverage, seen by 10 million viewers.
I, Harry S. Truman, do solemnly swear.
A year later, Channel 4 reached halfway around the world to give you Battle Report.
As our Air Force Chief of Staff warns that Red China has now become one of the world's major air powers, our news cameras bring you now your weekly Battle Report, Washington.
And then another major breakthrough when NBC launched the first of the morning programs.
Well, here we are. Good morning to you. The very first good morning of what I hope and suspect will be a great many good mornings between you and I. Here it is, Jack said, January 14th, 1952, when NBC begins a new program called Today. And if it doesn't sound too revolutionary, I really believe it begins a new kind of television.
Dave Garroway also hosted Wide Wide World, a novel Sunday afternoon show that carried us to the far corners of the earth and just around the corner.
You are now in Washington, D.C., through the eyes of live television. This is a parade of the United States Marine Corps on its 182nd anniversary.
By 1954, there were more than 500,000 television sets in Washington. This meant more viewers, hungry for more programs.
NBC Television.
The first viewers were so fascinated with the novelty of television that they'd watch anything. There were no rules. If we could point a camera at it, it became a program. But the more we experimented, the better the shows got. And all of that experimenting provided opportunities for fresh ideas and new talent.
Take it, Washington.
This, Dave, is the Pentagon building over in Arlington, Virginia, where a few people already have come to work. You can see a few cars there, people driving up. And we'll take a little quick look around the horizon. We're switching from the mall entrance. There's the moon up in the corner there.
Early programming was just a big guessing game. But when we guessed right,
Duty, voice
NBC soon followed with other blockbusters. It was the beginning of the golden age of television.
Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you apple, a plum, and apricot too.
When you had a television, this became the community center. Because everybody would rush in and pile around and watch this. Mom would fix some popcorn or something. Had to be quiet. You had to be mannered. But you could watch Nat King Cole. And this was the only way African Americans could see blacks on television.
All the songs that I like to read to.
In 1954, WNBW became WRC, and our programs became springboards for local talent.
And you folks in Washington, D.C. know them very well. They've been appearing there over WRC TV for 2.5 years, and they're very big favorites. Here are the Muppets.
Oh, black magic has me in a spell. Oh, black magic that you weave so well.
Back in Washington, the Muppets had been starring in their own show, Sam and Friends, since 1955.
Sam and Friends. This has been an interview with Chet Huntley and David Brinkley, and this program has come to you from NBC News, New York.
All right, folks. A little bit prophetic there, the Washington Monument falling over. I guess they weren't quite... I didn't expect an earthquake, right? Judging by the current state of the Washington Monument falling apart from the earthquake back in August, so they had something there. Anyhow, that's about 8 or 9 minutes of that documentary from Channel 4 back in 1997 on their 50th anniversary. That was Jim Vance and Arch Campbell, who's no longer with Channel 4. He's over at Channel 7 now, News Channel 8. But I previewed that, a couple months ago on a Dave TV, the beginning of it, where Jim is standing out front there with all the great Channel 4 people of the time, back when the station was great, George Michael and Bob Ryan and all that, and Doreen Gensler and everybody else. And we showed the first few minutes of it, and then there's the second chunk right there. I will show more of it later this month. We'll get into, we got through the launch of Channel 4, WNBW, WRC, flip over in 54, and then to the mid-50s. So I will bookmark it where it is right now, and we will watch the rest of that later this month. So stay tuned for another Dave TV with more of the Channel 4 history there, which is a really cool show. And, I don't know where else you'd be able to see that, honestly. Some guy sent that to me on DVD. He taped it when it actually aired back in, how long ago was that? 13, 14 years ago. So, I don't know where else you're going to see that other than here, DCRTV.com. and Dave TV. Okay. Any big news out there? Yeah, we got some news. I'm not going to get into some news today. We'll get that for another show. Just wanted to make this a special edition of Washington broadcast history. Just a quick pitch. There's nowhere else that covers Washington broadcasting history as much and as well, I think, as DCRTV. And we're just celebrating our 14th anniversary. So please take a minute, send us a few bucks. We really do depend on donations. Advertisers are great, and we do get a nice influx of funds from advertisers, but we still rely heavily on donations from you, the viewer of DCRTV. And we don't want to charge a subscription fee. We do charge, if you give us $39 or more, you get access to Plus. But for the most part, most of the site is free. And we're keeping it that way. But, just takes a few minutes to send us some bucks on PayPal or pop a check in the mail. Go to DCRTV, click on the support link on the top of the page there on various menu options, and, thank you very much. All right, folks, that's Dave TV for Saturday, 1st of October, my favorite month of the year, Rocktober. And don't forget to stay tuned and cut